Welcome. My name is Kim Vergé, College of Education, and we are blessed to have Mr. Robert Smolinski with us today, but I believe you like to go by Bob.
Correct.
And just welcome to the College of Education's presentation.
Well, thank you. It's great to be back here at the University of Findlay.
Question. You were here about the time that I was in college as well. What changes have you seen between the time that it was Findlay College and to now, the time at University of Findlay?
Well, some things are the same, and it appears that some things are different. The difference is that the university is larger,
yes,
offers more programs, there's more students here, the facilities have really expanded, and I was really impressed with the facilities in the education department that I've had a chance to visit today. What's the same, though, is that it seems like the folks here at Findlay are real genuine. They seem like they care about the kids. The kids seem like they like to be here. There's a real personal relationship, I think, between the teaching faculty here and the students. It just was obvious to me the moment that I returned here. But that was also occurred back when I was at the old Findlay College.
That's right, the old Findlay. Interesting. You mentioned the fact that facilities or structure and size may have changed. However, the feeling is still the same. You were a teacher?
Yes.
And a principal. What types of things did you see in your teachers in Euclid, I believe, and the types of things that you were seeing in our young teachers that you got to meet today? What were some of the dispositions or traits that you saw in some of our students?
Well, it's always good to see young teachers. They seem to be energized. I believe they're on the cutting edge of the best practices of teachers today. I think it's refreshing for me to see this, and I think, to be honest with you, be a great experience for other educators who are experienced to come back and visit with students here on the college level. There's really been, I think, a big change in education during the past 10 or 12 years to get the very best practices of teaching, assessing, and working with students. I think we were a little stagnant for a long time. And I think the move today to have teachers more accountable, to be on the same page for curriculum has caused this. And I've noticed this in the students that I've met today at Findlay.
Good. That's wonderful. We always love to hear that. You mentioned a little bit about the accountability measure. Right now out there in education, there seem to be some words like tolerance, accountability, and change. What are some of the changes that you, as a teacher and an administrator, have seen that have been positive changes in the public?
Well, I think the positive change that I've noticed in the past, I would say 10 to 15 years, is that I think educators are getting more on the same page in what they are teaching. And it doesn't mean that teachers have to teach the very same way or the very same thing minute by minute, class by class, but at least on a curricular basis, everyone's on the same page now as to what should be taught and what are the most important things students need to learn. Also, what do we need to do to improve the work of students who are struggling, students who aren't making the grades, so to speak. I think years ago, teachers pretty much were their own boss, so to speak, in their classroom. There wasn't that much interaction amongst teachers. There was some, but not a lot. And today, I think everyone is a little bit more on their own page.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know you mentioned that as an administrator, you found, and I'm going to quote you if you don't mind, you said that even though you gave out suspensions and expulsions, which you didn't like,
right,
you said that your own belief was the positive interpersonal relationship building was key to gaining the trust of students and building a foundation of learning and understanding. What kind of suggestions would you give to our future teachers and administration with respect to that belief?
Right. Well, I believe that students today need good teachers. There's no doubt about it. And I think building positive relationships with students and their parents is important. I think you have to have that foundation in order to make learning possible, because students need to trust the adult that they're working with. It doesn't mean that they don't need discipline. They certainly do need discipline, but I think it can occur better if students trust the adult they're working with. It's very, very important that the success of students today depends, I believe, on a good relationship. My motto sort of has been that children need love, especially when they don't deserve it. And that's a fine line to walk, but I try to encourage the students today to stay positive in their role as a teacher. Try to look at the glass half full rather than half empty. I think that's really important. And that encourages people. When you're with positive people, you get energized.
Excellent, excellent. One word that you would give to principals as a suggestion?
One word.
Or several.
I think one word is collaboration, be collaborative, work together. One of the real daunting tasks I found being a principal is you can't be everything to everybody. You can't know everything. You have to depend on your staff. You have to trust your staff. And if you could build a good working relationship, shared ownership of decision making and of teaching practices, and anything you put in, your policies, procedures, is really important. So I think collaboration is important. Working together is very important. I think that trust building has to be there.
I would totally agree. Here's a question. Can you share an experience that you may have had as a teacher which was pivotal with respect to your reason to become one? Why you decided to become one that was pivotal?
Well, there are a lot of situations that happen that you kind of build on over the years, you learn from. As I told one of the classes that I visited, there are things that will happen that no one else will really see or know, but you'll have that good feeling inside that what you did was really a good thing. You helped somebody. I don't think I could pick one specific thing that I did, except that in social studies, when I was a department chairperson, we coordinated our department to teach about the electoral process of electing a president. And we did this back in 1984 when Ronald Reagan was running against Walter Mondale for president. And we divided our classes. Each class was representing one state. So they had so many electoral votes based on the enrollment or population of that state or class. And so we campaigned, we picked a president and a vice president candidate, and we had the primaries, and then we eventually went down to the election process. This took place over a period of a couple weeks. And what happened in the end, the person the students elected to be president was elected because that person had the most electoral votes, but not the most popular votes, which can happen in our system of electing the president. And it was a great learning experience, I think, for the kids. It was one of those things you did, and it just kind of came together because it was sort of like an experiential learning experience. It was something that we were doing that was authentic. Authentic learning is important. Yes. And I think the kids learned a lot from that, and it made you feel like, wow, we can really do some things here in school. We can make a difference. That was purely in learning. There are probably examples of where you help kids along the way more emotionally, and I think that makes a difference with kids too. Probably even more. We show kids we care and that they belong and they have a purpose for being in our school.
Almost assuredly. Because I think students, when they feel that they're part of a family, whether it's the building or the classroom, when that teacher creates that feeling for them, they're safe, they're secure, they're non-threatened. Interesting, you talked about social studies and you talked about a learning situation. What could you tell students about creating lessons that are engaging, that are worth being taught?
Right. Well, first, the lessons that the students learn should be tied into the curriculum and standards. That's sort of a basic. but how you create that lesson and gaining the interest is another ball game. I do think it's important that even though the teacher is the teacher in terms of giving out information to the students, trying to get the students to be active learners is very important. And I think students who actively learn, work together, it's more important they learn how to learn rather than what they are learning. So all these activities go into the process of working together, maybe using technology as a tool, coming together with some information or project, whatever it might be. I think that's the key. It's not so much how many facts or of information we can learn, because in this world of information today and just pure history, social studies, science, you name the field, there's just too much for any one person to know. But how to access that information, how to work together, how to communicate, that's even more important. And those kind of lessons with kids probably are the ones that they'll learn the most from in the long run.
Oh, most assuredly. Knowledge, skills, disposition. 3 words that at the University of Findlay, and I'm sure Findlay College, they were big when we talk about them in education. Which one of those do you think is most important?
I think skills and disposition, and I seem to remember a questionnaire coming home on those topics, and I was sitting at my computer thinking of my response because that was difficult. You really need all 3. I remember, and I hope this isn't off the target a little bit, but I remember at my very first teacher interview that I went to for the Euclid School District, they asked me, what skills do I want my kids to learn? Well, I was into thinking about knowledge and not so much skills.
Right.
And now skills are important because if those skills can be applied to a lot of areas that in what you do, whatever you do, that's probably more important than the pure knowledge. Now, well, how would you define disposition then?
Caring.
Caring.
Humorous. Responsive to student needs.
Right. You know, that area is so crucial. It's almost a prerequisite to everything, because I think if you don't have that in place, the other things, skills and knowledge, won't come in. I think there's sort of that has to be there. One thing that I did learn that there was a study made that showed that emotional intelligence may be more important than cognitive intelligence and development. It's a prerequisite. So you need emotional stability, good mental health for kids, and by us being nurturing, we could help bring that along so that all that knowledge, learning, and skill building can occur.
Wonderful. I would agree with you, and you're correct. As we look at our teachers, as we look at our principals, we want them to have a really good blend of knowledge and skills and dispositions. But you're right, it's the dispositions and the environment in which we set up that will allow the other things to grow.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you on behalf of the College of Education for coming and being part of our day and being a wonderful educator and a model for our teachers and principals.
Well, thank you for the invite to return to the University of Findlay.
Yes.
It's really in my heart, and I hope the continued success for the university and especially the education department. There's some really wonderful folks in that department, and like I said, they are genuine. They care about the kids.
Thank you so much. And if you want any further information, please go to My Findlay, University of Findlay, keyword COE.